Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is your man, Leif Taylor. Uh, Going live. I know it's kind of an awkward hour, but I just wanted to make sure I got it in for the day. Today, what I'm doing is just testing out my new setup in terms of streaming and drawing. I know I've tried this in the past. A lot of the software has changed since my original time doing it. So I'm just giving it a few more stabs. Before I'll probably switch this over to Twitch or something like that. But for right now, I just want to have you guys give me some feedback. Let me know what's going on. If everything's coming through okay, and also if you have a request of something to draw, just let me know. Today, what I'm going to be focused on is simple characters. So let me get this shared, and it would help if I actually logged into Facebook or YouTube to do that. So definitely be sure to drop me a comment or something. Let me know if everything's coming through okay. I won't be on too long tonight. I was coming on earlier, but then I ran into some technical issues, so I had a reboot and everything. Hey, what's going on, Sheba? How are you doing? Can you hear me okay? Since you're watching, since I know that you're watching specifically. Let me take a look at this real quick. Bear with me, and I'll get going. Like I said, today I want to focus on simple characters, um, and because I know I do a variety of different designs and styles. But okay, thank you. But I just wanted to make sure that the stuff that I did tonight was simple in terms of the construct of the design, and not necessarily simple in terms of oh it's easy to do, because most cartoons are drawn simply, but they're not the easiest things to replicate, if that makes any sense. So this will just be a way for me to just show you some of how I go about, constructing characters and designs, and also, give you some insight. Hold on 1 second. I'm sorry. Yeah, I have my screens all over the place. So let me get this shared really quickly, and then we can get going. Sharing is always the most difficult part. I don't know why, but it's always because I got to go through and start typing up everything. I'm only sharing it to two places. And then also another thing about going live is like you got to find, like, normally I listen to music and things like that, but you got to find royalty free music in order to play, so that you don't get your video banned, which is what I'm definitely trying not to do. But anyway, typically when I'm drawing characters, and like I said, feel free to ask questions or give a comment. Let me make sure this is showing up over here. There we go. Yeah, let me undo a lot of that. Typically, when I'm drawing characters, I'll just start off with like basic shapes. And the program I'm using tonight is Procreate. And so, as you can see, this is actually a circle and roughly maybe a trapezoid, I guess that's what you would call it, or even a triangle. So I start off with those basic shapes. Delete that. Start off with those basic shapes just to really just set the character. So if this is a straight ahead character, I'll just do that. And again, you could draw like more triangles here for the feet, and actually that could be it in terms of the construction of the feet, and the same thing in terms of like the hands. I mean the arms, and then just little squiggles. for that. And then typically you'll see a lot of these grid marks, and that's what they'll do to, like, just so you know where to place the eyes, and then a half circle, right? So just like little simple stuff like that can be the construction of a wide variety of characters. I'll do the same thing, but just change up the proportions, right? So this is just basic character construction. And then maybe the legs are a little longer, right? And then if you got longer legs, then typically the arms will be long as well. And just swoop the arm up that way. Get a little on the second one. For some reason, drawing on the computer. Well, I'm actually drawing on my iPad. The simpler the construction, the harder it is for me sometimes. And so you see how this line right here is fairly low. We could set it up a little higher for this character. We'll give him the same half circle, except we will make it a lot larger. And then add teeth, rectangle, half circle, and then just color it in like that. Give him some ears this time. And little smudge for the nose. So you can see it's like really simple stuff, but you can do a lot of different things with just simple shapes and designs. We'll do the same thing. And again, what I'm doing is really just getting in reps, right? Just focusing on making sure that I actually get some practice in. And again, the same. Here, I'll point the foot back. And then just like a big U. All right. And again, I'm being real scribbly and sketchy here. And then say ice skating, right? And I'm gonna draw a variety of different styles. So hey, what's going on, Rachel? How are you doing? And so again, just all of these, this character here, this character here, this character here, all have the same basic construction. Let me know if you need to see my face to do this. I just wanted to enlarge the screen a little bit more. And all of these have the same basic construction. But as you can see, once you start utilizing, just creativity, excuse me, you can do a large variety of things. What I'll do this time, I'll do a circle. Actually, you know what? I'll change it up. I'll do a blockhead with the circular body, right? And again, so one of the tips and tricks that I use, sometimes, not all the time, it just depends. Some days I feel like I know how to draw, and other days I feel like I don't know what I'm doing. So a lot of times I'll use these types of construction lines, and basically this X right here will dictate where his face is pointing, right? It just adds a bit of depth. And I'll even put the eyes in above the line here. And the eyes can go in a variety of ways. You can draw different kinds of eyes, uh, different kinds of eyebrows, lines for mouth. They can vary. It just depends on what you want to do. Sometimes it could just be a dot. It just depends, right? And then typically, if this was going to be a 3/4 view, then you could put the ear like somewhere in this vicinity. And from there, you can add just little stuff on. You can construct around the basic structure, right? I'll erase some of these just so you can see as I'm putting in the shapes within the shapes, right? And as long as you see shapes and as long as you can understand the shapes, then you can start building all kinds of little things and just don't let yourself be hindered uh, based on, it's really based on whether creativity or get reference or all kinds of stuff. And arms don't even really matter how long they are. Uh, just keep in mind that, you know, and then just draw on whatever you want. And the little half circles for hair. And very, very basic characters. And again, you can create a wide variety of things with these types of styles. And then also you don't even have to go with these normal shapes. I'm gonna just make up a shape. Normally, what I try to do if I'm making up a shape is just keep it smooth. And I'm just making this up as I go. I think there's a pig that looks like that or something. I don't know. But again, as you can see, it's just I don't even know what this is, but again, you just get the idea of just creating something very simple and just having fun with it. When I'm sketching, I'll draw all kinds of stuff. I'll look at references and just make up doodles based off the references I'm looking at. Again, I'm just trying to get in reps to loosen up my hand, to loosen up my mind, um, and also if I have like some projects I'm working on, I'll just do a variety of different drawings just to get warm, so to speak, and that way, as I'm drawing, it gets easier as I go. So just never stop, putting in mileage on the pencil, whatever medium you're using. Again, I'm using Procreate. Let me lower the opacity. Okay. And so, yeah, just switching it up a little bit in terms of style, character style. And if you got any questions or comments, just let me know. And this is more what I'm doing right now is more what you would call a rubber hose style. And again, everything for me typically starts off the same. I work on the construction, and you can see I keep it real loose, real sketchy. Um, so this will be his hands, then Typically attack it like that. And again, just make sure you draw through. And what I mean by that is you can see I've taken some of these lines through this particular structure, because when you're sketching is all about just the underlying structure. Just want to make sure it has some form of volume. And I'm making all these up as we go. So I have really nothing in mind. And so do that. And again, these are unrendered. Let's see, I'm gonna change it up. Hey, what's up, Peter? Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate it. We'll give them some, the time at hand. You give them a COVID mask or something, and then make the mask look like that. He got the clip, something like that. And again, just and I'm keeping this real loose, because when I wanted to add more details, then I'll just add another layer, and you'll be able to see that, since I'm sharing my screen. I'm drawing all of this on my iPad, just in case you were wondering. And just keeping his feet real loose. And all I'm trying to do right now is just make sure the shapes stay flowy. If that's a word. Just so they're more smooth. I could do the same with his arms. Instead of making it like a hard angle, I could like bend them like that, but I'll keep it at a hard angle. Hey, what's going on, Barbie? How are you doing? And so actually I don't like his eyes, so I'm gonna erase those, and I'm gonna just put in a guideline there just so I can keep everything in check. I'll smooth it out a bit. Let me, there we go. You know what? I was just thinking I could. My wife made a post earlier today about people protesting, so maybe I'll give them a protest sign. In Procreate, you can actually make straight lines. I'm gonna undo those and just show you how to make a straight line in Procreate. See, I just drew and just held down on it, and I can just hold down on it. And again, this is drawing through. And I'll just act like that's part of the picket sign. And then just to show how, like, I'll just erase like everything that goes through the hands, the limbs. And so, yeah, let me darken this in more so you can see it. And so when you see it, like if you finished it, it'll look like he's actually holding it as opposed to it just going through his hands. And then I would erase that. And you can add shading and all of that kind of stuff just to make it look more like he's gripping it. But I'll just put like no to social distancing or something. Yeah, because sometimes people protest and they'll be doing the very thing that they're protesting. But anyway, again, this is more or less just showing shape language, and how I go about doing some of the designs that I do. Um, Let's see. I'll pull up a Mickey Mouse picture and see if I can replicate that. Here, I'll zoom in. And, and so if you look at any of the Mickey Mouse drawings, he has like a big circular head, and see his eye line is about right here, and his muzzle, so to speak, loops around kind of like that. I'm not a Disney artist, so I don't have to worry about getting fired or anything. And then I think something like that. And again, it's not going to be 100% accurate because I never draw Mickey Mouse like ever, even though I like it. Like the I like the new cartoons. And I think he usually has like yeah, and I think it's more rounded than this in terms of his muzzle. Uh, I have to go find some better images so I can look at it. Because again, it's really all about information and the kind of information you get. And his ears aren't really circular. I know the old Mickey, his ears were more circular. The new Mickey, it's only circle at certain points, like 100% circles. These are more like ovals. And then I'll just go over that in that way. Like I said, it's not 100%, but you get the gist. And actually, his nose is not even an oval shape. It is more like it's more like yeah. I can't even describe that shape right there. And that's kind of how the new Mickey looks. And he's like on a triangle. He has like a circular body here, but his pants come up like that. And then his arms actually branch out of his head and his torso. And so you would see that with his pants belt buttons, and his legs again are more like triangular tubes, and his feet are pretty big. And of course, this is not accurate 100%, but the idea is just to show you the process of how I would go about instructing some of these things. And really, just like the last video I did live, is more or less just to show the thoughts behind the concept of the art. And okay, what are they thinking when they create these things? Why are they making these decisions? That kind of stuff. And so that's really what that was about. Uh, let me create something here. Give me a second. So What should I make this character doing? Let's see. I know what I'll do. You'll see what I'm doing here in a second. Right now, all I'm doing is just constructing the design. And let me work on this. I can play with slime. I'll put some slime to the side. How about that? Oh, you know what? Maybe I will make a play with some slime. I just erase that. It's gonna look messy, but I just try to keep track of. I'll make it a little more clear here in a second. And I'm actually going to change these lines here. I'm going to raise this ear up. And again, when you think about shifting, you move the ear up to make it look like they're facing down. And I'll straighten these eyes up a little bit later. Right now, all I'm doing is just the rough phase. Again, this is and all I'm doing right now is just focusing on construction, and then the cleanup will happen after I feel good about the movement. Okay, so I like the overall direction of that, and so what I'll do is just I'll lower the opacity, and this is pretty much how I construct the majority of the things I work on. Sometimes I do like multiple passes just to get the face just right, but since this is just a demo, uh, I won't massage it as much. And all I'm doing right now is just going back over the face, just keeping it nice and round. And as you can see, I'm using the underdrawing as a guide, but I'm not tracing. I want to make sure that this is a completely new drawing. I'm just using the bottom as a reference. I'll give her a smaller mouth, make it look a little more cute. And do her hair. And just make the puffs a little curly. Yeah, hands inside of the jar there, and then see on it with the other little hand. And I would go in and clean this up. Again, just clearing up the shapes, and I'll go actually to the other layer and lighten it up a little bit more just so I can see it a little bit more clear. And again, this is practically the same construction I was doing earlier where you have like a rectangular upper body as the basic shape. And then so I'm gonna erase this, but just to show you. So if she was sitting down, her torso would actually be like this, and the legs would come this way, and they would overlap. And I'm not the best at anatomy, but this is pretty much what the overall look would look like if you were to break it down separately. But I kind of skipped that step, and I was like, okay, I just knew that I wanted the legs to lap this way, and so I just bent them like that. And the other leg would go behind that, so she's sitting cross-legged or legged, as we used to say when we were kids. And some people still say it as adults. And so, yeah, just little bands, like she wearing pajamas. It's late and it's COVID time. So a lot of people in PJs all day. I've seen tons of people in PJs going to the gas station. So, so I'm just gonna add some color here just because. And again, I'm not really gonna. Normally, I would ink it, uh, where I would take it and clean up the lines even more. But again, this is just sketching, and I want to leave it sketchy. I want to leave it quick. I'm not really trying to have highly rendered sketches for tonight's cast. And usually, what I'll do, I'll color the whole head, the skin tone, so that way, if I have any gaps when I do the hair, this will show through. If that makes sense. Let me go back to my other color. Go up here, so I can just finish up the that jar. I'm not even going to separate this on their own layers. Normally I do. I keep all the colors on their own layer so I can change them whenever I want to. But for now, since this is more or less just for demonstration purposes, I won't. See, I'll give her some dark hair. And a lot of times when I do cartoons, I won't use like blacks or anything like that. I'll just use darker other colors. This is a purple. And also another thing that I'll do sometimes is I'll actually make the layer over top um, make it multiply, change the blending mode to multiply. I'll just show you what it looks like. That way it just comes darker and it just is darker than everything under it. Put it back to normal. Let's see. Make a then just real random. Mm. And that's quick rendition of a character. What's up, Marzipan? And there's just like a real quick rendition and just a real like simple way to construct. And if this was for like an actual project, I would go back over this drawing right here. I would refine it more. I would clean up all the fuzzies. I wouldn't even like I can go in and clean some of this up now, but I wouldn't even really actually clean this layer. I would just create a whole new layer and redraw everything. And I would do this before I actually even colored anything. But this will just give you like an idea of my process and how I go about creating design sketches and and the different styles that I go through. I probably will call it quits for right now, but for my future ones, I'll do a large variety of different things. I'll focus on more kids cartoon designs, as well as sometimes I do anime, sometimes I do a hybrid of like a comic style, hybrid with animation, just because I like the animated look. I'm a fan of highly detailed work, but I'm not a fan of it, if that makes any sense at all. So anyway, I just appreciate you guys for just stopping by. Again, just testing to make sure that my setup is working. The last piece of software I was using, Mob Crush, whenever I streamed from my iPad, it would just quit, and I had to do like 3 or 4 uh, broadcasts just to have one solid broadcast. So this one held up pretty good, and I may use it going forward. Maybe the next time I get on, I'll try OBS as well, just to change up just how the stream looks. And again, right now I'm just experimenting. This is why I went live as opposed to do like a pre-recorded rendition and having something set out, but I'll do more of those as well. Anyway, not to over talk. I appreciate you guys, and I thank you for tuning in. Peace.